Yeah, I know it's a little cliche to dress up as Doug for this video, but I'm never gonna get a chance to do this again. All right, I gotta take my opportunity. The hat is too small and the tie does look like shit, but I'm not going to prom. Okay, I'm doing a video on Nostalgia Critic. I can dress however I want. I had a whole big opening plan for this video, like I usually do. I had a big opening montage. It was going to be set to the PLOK music from the Super Nintendo game. It was going to be like timed to the beat and stuff, but I decided to scrap it for a little more grounded opening. Now, I know most of you guys are thinking, my friend Cameron, why are you making a video about Channel Awesome and Doug Walker and the movies in a year that isn't 2019? That was a big year for shitting on a guy who made the greatest joke in the whole internet. But we do have to address the fact that this is a rather unfashionably late video on Channel Awesome, and I better have a good reason to do this after all the hype has died down. And the reason is, I'm actually getting paid for this. And, I've been getting paid $10 a week over the course of a year, so all the budget could go into was this outfit. That's a Nostalgia Critic reference.
Deadpool! Like the actual Deadpool!
That's right, as close as our budget will allow.
Oh. How close?
Decent costume, clever writing, good-looking guy underneath.
Oh, okay.
That's how horrible this has affected my life. I'm making Nostalgia Critic references now. Life is pain. I hate. Now, there's been lots of videos on Channel Awesome, on Doug Walker in the movies, and most of them have been in a pretty negative light. Like, how many videos have you seen where it's like, to boldly suck, or Suburban Shites, or Shit-Assia? Like, I know only one of those videos is true, but you get my idea. And I'm here to tell you, my video will be different. Yeah, I will be crapping on Doug, but I feel like I have something original to bring to the table. This isn't really going to be like my other videos I've made in the past. This really isn't a review of Channel Awesome and their movies. Like, while I will be doing some review talk, this is mostly just me talking to you guys about my experience watching Channel Awesome. And it's like I'm having a conversation with you guys about something I'm finally in on. That's kind of the big idea about this video, and by extension myself. I never grew up with Doug, not when he was on his own website or when he moved to YouTube. Okay, I was born in 2004, okay? Give me a break. When people like Doug were crapping out videos, I was still crapping my pants. I don't really think I did that much internet stuff until I was 10, and if it was vaguely inappropriate in any sort of way, I wasn't allowed to watch it. So that meant stuff like the angry video game nerd, completely off the table. Inappropriate stuff, did sneak its way onto my YouTube when I was a kid. Like, I remember I used to watch, Super Mario Glitchy 4, those stuff. And I also watched Smosh a lot as a kid. That I did get in trouble for. Say what you will about, my parents and that whole generation, about the internet and stuff. But, they were cautious. I feel like they did a good job. I was mostly brought up on, Let's Players like, Blitzwinger and other video game people like Peanut Butter Gamer, just to give you an idea of what I did watch. I also really wasn't that much into movies as a kid. I feel like video games were more my jam. Nowadays, it's more like a 50-50 split. I eventually did learn about Channel Awesome and Doug Walker through pure internet cultural osmosis. And you want to guess how that came about?
You should have a failed clone called the Goker. I am the Goker.
The Joker.
He smacks
That's
Harold.
Melvin, brother of the Joker.
I'm gonna watch Melvin,
face.
brother of the Joker.
Melvin, brother of the Joker. Melvin.
Yeah, just extend that for 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chris O'Neill. Thank you for fucking up my life. Oni Plays is one of my favorite YouTube channels, all right? Those guys bringing up Doug Walker in their videos is hilarious. And that freaking slightly artistic video Chris did with Harry Partridge is one of the greatest videos he's ever made.
Ben is a great guy, and I still work with him, so I am drawing him like a real human being and being as respectful and awesome as I can be to him.
Okay, well, I drew another Benzai right next to him, so.
Jeez.
And while it's clear Chris and the people that join him for Oni Plays, have a type of love for Channel Awesome. They kind of painted these guys like they're clowns. But there was another factor that played into my perception of Channel Awesome early on. Okay. Time to talk about this. Listen, these are internet personalities, okay? It is completely impossible to remove an internet controversy from these internet personalities. Like, I won't be going into the controversy surrounding all these people because chances are you already know them. But all this stuff really did heavily color my impressions of Channel Awesome early on. Like, I didn't really want to watch them before, but now I definitely didn't want to. But now we're in the present day, where all I have is free time and morals to sell. So let's watch some freaking Channel Awesome. Okay, pause. It does go a little bit deeper than that. YouTube and of course the internet have changed a lot. A lot of people have come around and they can bend the status quo on what is or isn't a review or, typical internet content. We got people like Scott the Wise, who made like a review trilogy that ended in a kaiju fight. And Germa, he played real life Sims. All this stuff got started because the fucking Nintendo whiz got mad at Dr. Dickface and Mr. Butthole, and the Remembrance reviewer got mad at the greatest movie of all time. I'm not kidding. Like, I know a lot of people have a problem with modern YouTube, but let's be honest. We got so many great content creators who do their own thing. We got people who make like high quality game reviews on like niche games. We got people who make video essays that go by in a flash. And we even have modern day Grindhouse. And while all of these people may have not been inspired by the Nostalgia Critic, this was a necessary stepping stone to get to where we are now. It's a legitimate part of internet history. And, I do fancy myself an historian. Not like Indiana Jones, more like Nathan Drake, because everything I touch explodes. I feel like this is the opening to every video about Channel Awesome. The journey starts with this humongous playlist. Holy fuck. If you really wanted to torture someone, you could just play this playlist on loop forever. It kind of sucks I have to resort to a fan-made playlist. I can't just go to the Channel Awesome channel and hit oldest videos. But, I understand the reason. He had to move all his videos to YouTube after his old website. By the way, before we begin, quick disclaimer, I did not watch every single Nostalgia Critic video for this. I don't want to hear any fucking losers in the comments saying how I didn't get enough info, alright? I'm allowed to cherry pick my videos. I'm not doing some scientific study. I can watch whatever I want. So first impressions of Doug. He's alright. I'll tell you, it was a trip hearing these words out of Doug for this first video.
This is the shit!
I wouldn't really call these early videos reviews. It's mostly just Doug going through scenes of a movie and making jokes about them. And these jokes are really hit or miss for me. I know what makes you laugh is subjective from person to person, but most of the stuff didn't make me laugh. This was the era of angry reviewers. Doug and James were pioneers of this sort of thing. But I kind of like how James did it. He had a bit more setup and he wasn't always turned on. There was, a build up to a freak out. Doug just kind of freaks out whenever he wants. Like, there's some jokes in these videos that go on for way too long. Like the whole Mario bit in the Mario Bros movie where it's just the same clips playing over and over again. I get it, Doug. His first name's Mario and his last name's Mario. Ooh. That's really rich because this is also the video where Doug critiques what comedy is.
So the final conclusion we have to draw from this is not funny plus not funny equals not fucking funny! I mean, do these people have to go back to Film 101? If you want a joke to work, you need humor. Don't you know that?
Doug prioritizes making jokes than actual reviews in these videos, which, isn't a crime. He can totally do that. But, it's called the Nostalgia Critic. I feel like I'm a little, allowed to be peeved here. Like, I know YouTube was different back then. Like, I don't feel like this type of content would fly nowadays. There was a sentiment back then where when you watched a video like Doug's, you were essentially watching the movie with him, through proxy and all that. And to that I say, what the hell were you talking about, dude? Like, there is no way you can get like any idea of what the plot or feel of a movie is. He's jumping from like beginning, middle, and end. I don't buy it. There's no way people actually thought they were watching freaking Mario Bros. Like, it's obvious I'm not that big on these reviews so far, but that doesn't mean like Doug made videos that I hate. You know, there's some stuff I like in this. You know, for the most part, I actually like his top 11 videos. Why 11, you ask? I don't know. I feel like I like these top 11 lists more because I feel like I'm actually, you know, seeing Doug and not the nostalgia critic. And he also goes through these lists like really fast. He's really efficient. And I know a lot of people talk about, you know, the Sonic Hotties top 11 list, and everyone makes fun of that. But did you also know he did a top 11 list on freaking cereal box mascots? Hello, this is Cameron in post on even shittier microphone. A slight correction to the line I said earlier about Doug making the top 11 Sonic Hotties video. Turns out he did not make the top 11 Sonic Hotties video. That was like 2 separate other people. Like, I swear I remember Doug making one of these videos, but I must have been getting it confused with the top 11 Nostalgic Hotties episode, which is the one that I played when I mentioned it. Which really sucks because I had a very specific Sonic video in mind. Turns out there's multiple Sonic Hotties videos, but Doug hasn't made any of them. But let's be honest. Given the chance, Doug totally would have made a video like that. So yeah, slight correction in the script. Don't mean to slander Doug, but you know, in a couple of years when Doug finally makes that video, we'll come back and I'll edit this part out and it'll be topical again. All right, thank you. Probably my favorite Nostalgia Critic video from this era was the Harry Potter book release video. Doug is still technically playing the Nostalgia Critic, but this is the farthest he's ever gotten from the character up to this point. And he actually does a pretty good job at playing a man-on-the-street type character. And this video also was probably my favorite Nostalgia Critic joke of all time. Now, I've been talking about Doug for a bit, and we'll get to those movies, don't you worry. But first, we gotta talk about the... Oh yeah, now this is what I'm talking about. Get out of the way, Doug. Now it's Brad's time to shine. It would have been really easy for me just to watch Doug, but come on. This is my journey with Channel Awesome, not just with Doug. As much as I want to have, you know, a little candlelit dinner with Doug, it's kind of hard to do that when I see Linkara across the restaurant. You know, I was actually surprised to find out that some people I already watched were part of Channel Awesome. Like Guru Larry, like I watch that guy all the time. I love his stuff. And I think he still holds the record as the longest standing OG Channel Awesome member. Dude, Angry Joe. Now listen, I don't watch a lot of Angry Joe, but I'm a big fan of Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days, so this clip lives rent-free in my head.
The worst offense, though, the worst offense is that in this single-player campaign, it took me like 4 hours to beat it. It's 4 hours long.
Hey, Brad Jones. I'll be honest, I kind of only watched his James Bond reviews. I kind of live and die by that franchise. I'll watch anything James Bond related. Not that, though. Man, fuck Bennett the Sage. This guy came onto my radar after I looked up, you know, some Golgo 13 videos and, you know, just fucking talk about a guy who has no idea what he's talking about. Bennett kind of gives off the vibe that, you know, he's all that in a bag of chips. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of rubs me weird. And my contempt for Bennett also stems from this horribly cursed object he has in the background. If you don't know what that is, go ask your parents. I've also had the pleasure of discovering people I probably wouldn't have had before. Benzai and Phaelus, I like those two. I really like them a lot. Both are just chill and have like really easy to digest videos. I kind of like how Phaelus always sounds like he wants to die. And, you know, Benzai, hey, those games he chooses, really inspired picks. It's a shame Benzai kind of, bowed out of the whole reviewing stuff and makes things in French. But yeah, he's doing what he wants to do, and I salute that. He can do whatever he wants. And just to talk about Thalos one more time, I kind of like how he actually goes through the plot of these movies early on. It gives some setup and context to the jokes he makes. Something I wish Doug kind of did early on. But enough stalling. Let's get to the big one. Here it is, folks. The big smelly movie. But not the biggest smelly movie. We'll get to that one. This movie can be really rough, especially if it's your first time watching it. An hour and 30 minutes, that's a really respectable runtime for a movie, but it has an incredibly tart pace, and it mostly comes from the jokes. I was reminded of some of the worst jokes from this era of Nostalgia Critic. Everything is so played out and long. It's very obvious this was all written by Doug. Yeah, all Doug. No involvement from the 5+ other people he has on the crew with him. And that really sucks. It's not like all these guys have drastically different writing and editing and review styles. It wouldn't have hurt to have them collaborate on some scenes, You could make the argument that with a cast this big and stupid and silly, you need to streamline things, but that doesn't really work all the time. Everyone needs their big moment to shine in this movie, and I'm not really big on this entire cast. And that's what kind of sucks about these movies for me. I gotta sit through scenes of characters and reviewers that I'm not really that big of a fan of or just don't know that much about, but then I'm forced to watch scenes of people who I absolutely despise. These movies didn't fucking age well, did they? Let's move on. I will say, choosing a place like Molossia to film, stroke of genius, brilliant choice. A cool location can elevate any project. Take the 1977 Golgo 13 movie, a movie I'm sure everyone's familiar with and not just me. It's a movie about a super assassin going undercover so he can break up a crime ring. Doesn't really sound that interesting, I know. Liam Neeson makes these movies all the time. But what if I told you that the movie took place in pre-revolution Iran the entire time? Boom, classic, instant classic. Molossia is just an interesting place in general. The whole main compound with the miniature train set and the Annie collection really make this place feel special. This isn't just someone's backyard or the forest or a playground. Definitely not foreshadowing for the next two movies. A place as crazy as Molossia really fits in with the rest of these Channel Awesome stooges. In the moment when you're watching the movie, you're not even questioning what the hell a Molossia even is. You're just into it. Kevin Ba, the ruler of Molossia, he feels like a character ripped right out of a Nostalgia Critic sketch. But he's real, alright? And the Molossian Navy is building up steam, and the only step after that is nuclear weapons, alright? We gotta watch out. This movie also just kind of gives off the feeling that, everyone's coming together to make a big, silly movie together. But I know that wasn't really the case, but out of all the movies we're going to look at here today, this was the one with the least publicly known drama. It probably helps that the movie is having fun with itself. It is taking itself seriously, but it's taking the idea that these schmucks can run a micronation seriously, and that becomes the joke. Which makes moments like this stick the landing.
Mati. Yes, it is I, Mati, from Captain Planet.
There's no lofty themes or deep messages in this one. Again, totally not foreshadowing. It feels like they all just wanted to make stuff that was funny, and they worked to make it funny. Not all the jokes land, and there is a decent amount of reference humor in this movie. And I kind of don't like reference humor because there's always a 50-50 chance someone won't get what you're referencing. Alright, fellas. It's time for a bit of a confession. While I have been dunking on this movie, a fair bit, I gotta admit I'm kind of into it. I just feel like I have an attachment to this movie. Some of you may say, but my friend Cameron, Like, how could you have any kind of attachment to a movie where a bunch of schmucks are running around making a no-budget movie? And I feel this type of connection because that's exactly what I was doing for 2 whole ass years of my life. I spent my junior and senior year of high school making a no-budget internet review series with my friends. And it was the most fun I've ever had. When I first started this video, I was going to save this little story for the end. And it was going to be like, oh, nice, sweet, touching moment. You know, he resonated with the Nostalgia Critic. But, you know, let's be honest. Like, a lot of people who watch my videos kind of already know what my show was. And if you don't know what it is, here's a taste of it. You're welcome. Hanging out with the gang, making something out of nothing, making each other laugh. It's why we did what we did, and I can see that in Kickassia. One of my favorite Kickassia-related things are the vlogs that were shot by Bargo and other members of Channel Awesome. I really dig, you know, candid behind-the-scenes moment like this. And, you know, it's nothing special. They're just farting around. But, you know, that's the stuff you want to remember. Just having fun together. You know, there's been a bit of a reevaluation of Kickassia in recent times. How it's, you know, the deep hidden meaning and, you know, it's decent meta commentary on leadership and hubris. Now, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like it's kind of silly to attach big, lofty themes to a movie where it's clear that the only theme behind it is we're just trying to have a bit of fun. This may be a ridiculous high point to start this whole thing on, but I really like Kickassia. This might be my favorite Channel Awesome thing I've seen so far. You did it, Channel Awesome. You did it good. It's only downhill from here, isn't it?
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. A lot of you might be wondering where I've been the past week. Well, there's an incident in Nevada. Many people injured. I can never go back.
All right, we are back. The tie looks even more shitty, and I'm wearing my pajama pants, but we're back to watching Channel Awesome. Is it stupid of me to say that I miss the low video quality of the older Channel Awesome videos? It was kind of funny when Doug would freak out and he would become 4 pixels wide, but, you know, higher video quality is to be expected. The better looking video quality is really the only real shakeup these videos have. It's more or less how it was in the last era. Over the years of watching Doug from the sidelines, a lot of people kind of blasted him for not truly evolving the Nostalgia Critic for a while. And to that I say, well, not everything needs to be evolved. You know, Doug clearly found his groove and he's fine doing it. I don't really mind. By this point, I kind of know what to expect from these kind of videos, and that's not a bad thing. It makes watching these videos a little cozy. I'm just throwing on reviews of movies I already know and watching Doug do his thing. It's a nice video to have in the background, and, you know, it's easy to watch. I wouldn't say I'm 100% won over by this stuff, and after watching a lot of these videos, I think I could say that Doug's humor really isn't for me. When a joke lands, it lands. But, you know, while I'm not slapping my knee at all these jokes, you know, these jokes come at such a fast pace and we're on to the next one so quick. One of them's bound to make me chuckle at least a little. These videos have also been getting longer. They have been getting longer since, you know, pre-Kickassia. But now almost all the videos are hitting 15 minutes or above. I do prefer these longer videos. It gives Doug a lot more time to actually set up the movie and have more context for the jokes. It also allows room for actual criticism, which is usually pretty on point for the most part.
What are mutants in this world? Well, we're never given a full explanation, but apparently they're half human, half fish people that evolved over time. And everybody hates them. Why? I mean, I know prejudice is a staple of mankind, but you have an apocalyptic world underwater and a guy who can breathe underwater. Fucking use him! You shouldn't be putting him in a net, you should be treating him like royalty! He can solve like a bajillion problems in this world and you're treating him like a criminal?
I don't really have that much to say about all this stuff between Kickassia and our next movie. Some videos I will mention is the Waterworld review because it's a movie I find really interesting and entertaining despite all its flaws. and Double Team, I throw on that video a lot because I always need to be reminded about how batshit crazy that movie is. The Nostalgia Critic Christmas special was also surprisingly good. Maybe for all the wrong reasons because we have the power of retrospect. Having a video where Doug finds out the whole world would have been better off without him has aged surprisingly well. Oh, one last video I was actually a fan of was the Animaniacs video. These aren't really Nostalgia Critic episodes, and they really didn't have to be Nostalgia Critic episodes, but it's clear Doug really likes this sort of stuff, and he's actually pretty good at being an interviewer. And one last thing before we move on to our next movie, I won't really be talking about the other reviewers anymore, because I've pretty much said all I wanted to say, but I do throw on their videos every now and then between watching all the Doug stuff. They're a really good palate cleanser. Alright, now it's time to sober up and get to the parts I was dreading the most. You know all that magic and wonder I loved Kickassia for? It's all gone now. Or at least I think it is. Is this stuff supposed to be a joke? There's no music, natural sounds going off the charts, and Top Hat here is weed whacking inside a car. Someone, please tell me, is this whole opening supposed to be a joke? Everything is taken so seriously. Like Top Hat here thinks he's Orson Welles or something. And then it just cuts to this shit. The opening 10 minutes is a fucking thesis statement for the rest of the film. Dark times are ahead of us, motherfuckers. Okay, I apologize. I got a little heated there. Let's just take a minute. Okay, I'm ready to go back to bitching. Right off the bat, Suburban Knights want to be taken seriously. And wanting to be taken seriously isn't necessarily a bad thing. Elvis Presley, he wanted to be taken seriously in his movies, and look where that got him. 30 whole movies of pure embarrassment. But Channel Awesome and Elvis kind of have the same problem. Wait, no, hear me out, listen to me. The reason why Elvis never got to be taken seriously in a big dramatic movie is because he was Elvis. People didn't see him as being serious. Just like Linkara, guys, come on. But seriously, let's pretend I'm not full of shit for a minute. You can have the most serious, well-written drama in the world, but as soon as you put film brain in it, it loses all meaning. This isn't the type of story that works best for these people. You're wasting their time and their talent. The reason Kickassia works so well is because the whole movie was a joke. The characters were a joke. The whole story played second fiddle to the jokes. In this movie, they're playing me like a goddamn fiddle. There is such a hard line between the serious and the funny, and you guys just aren't cut out for this. I'm sorry. I did praise Kickassia for taking itself seriously, but Suburban Knights is missing that special sauce that made that funny. I don't really know how to explain it, but Suburban Knights feels disingenuous with its irony. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but hopefully you get what I mean. Like, look at this scene from Kickassia, one of my favorite jokes.
Mati. Yes, it is I, Mati, from Captain Planet.
Now look at the same joke from Suburban Knights.
Critic.
Ah! Mati!
Yes, it's Mati, from Captain Planet.
You see what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel right. The whole comedy doesn't feel right. This is the beginning of a horrible era for Channel Awesome. The overuse of references. You know, Kickassia had references. It had plenty of references. But it also had jokes. Jokes that had a setup and a payoff. But in Suburban Knights, they're all just references. I said earlier in Kickassia that when you do a reference joke, there's a 50-50 chance someone won't get the reference. Sometimes they outright say who they're mentioning, but every other time they have to assume that we're all baby geniuses and we have to already know who these freaks are talking about. I swear, half the dialogue is made up of references. I would say I'm impressed they were able to fill a whole 2-hour movie with nothing but references, but I know they outdid themselves for the next movie, so I'll save my tears for that. But the references, I can't stand them. This really sucks for Suburban Knights because all of these goobers dress up as pop culture characters. Most of them are easy to figure out. Like, yeah, that's Indiana Jones. I watched that with my dad. And yeah, that's Princess Mononoke. My dad hates that movie. But tell me, who the fuck is Phaelus supposed to be? That's the other thing. The Channel Awesome reviewers are no longer playing themselves, they're playing other characters. And it's not even their character playing a character. We're not getting Spoonie being Gandalf. It's just Gandalf. Phaelus, my beloved, you were my favorite character out of this whole lineup, and look what they did to you. The worst bit of character assassination so far.
Hey guys, this is Cameron in Post again. After further review and research, turns out Phaelus is supposed to be Rock Eater from the Neverending Story. Like, tell me, how the fuck was I supposed to know he was Rock Eater from the Neverending Story? Please, tell me how the fuck was I supposed to know? Like, these are horrible mics. I have no idea how I'm supposed to understand anything they're talking about. They only say it once, and he doesn't even look like Rock Biter. I haven't even seen the movie. I've seen clips of it. He doesn't even look like Rock Biter. Like, tell me, how was I supposed to know?
The setting has also been nerfed to hell. This may be a stupid complaint, but they were able to make a lot out of a small location like Molossia. But now we're just downgraded to running around in the forest and public playgrounds. Channel Awesome has set the bar way too high. We will never reach the heights of Kickassia ever again. And I meant what I said earlier about the magic being gone. Everything still feels like it's a fun get-together with friends, but we only get to have fun every so often because we have to be super serious for a bit and then we get to be funny. This whole new setup of going back and forth between serious and funny kills the pacing of the movie. In Kickassia, not all the jokes landed, but at least we were moving on to the next one pretty fast. But in Suburban Knights, I gotta fucking sit through this pile of shit to get to something that may or may not make me laugh, so in the end, it's just a horrible waste of my time. Which sucks because there's actually pretty decent gags in this movie.
Come, noble warriors, face the wrath of the master mages! To magic! To magic!
Like, I knew once I got past Kickassia, things were gonna go downhill, but after enjoying Kickassia, I thought I could get some enjoyment out of this stuff, but no. There's no enjoyment here. I got more enjoyment out of single Nostalgia Critic reviews than this entire movie. I don't have a real way to end this segment, so I'll just say,
my disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. Well, what movie can I review today to make my voice more high-pitched than it already is?
I have no real reason to play this opening. I just wanted to see Phaelus in something good one last time. Again, I don't really have much to say about this era. The Stockholm Syndrome has fully set it at this point, and, everything's alright. It's nice to see a video in a quality that's above 480p. It's almost HD. But there aren't really that many episodes in this era, and the tail end is just filled out with a bunch of low-effort top 11 videos. The quality of those Nostalgia Critic episodes are, about as you expect. They're okay. But it's almost like the Channel Awesome budget was pushed towards something else. Something more sinister. Something bigger. Something bolder. Something they had to flee to. This is it. This is the one you've all been waiting for. One of the most infamous videos in the history of the internet. To Boldly Flee has been the topic of so many videos. People who don't even know what Channel Awesome is, they know about this movie because it blocks out the sun of how much of a massive fuck up it is. The things that I can say about To Boldly Flee have already been said before. There is absolutely nothing new that I can bring to the table in terms of reviewing this movie. So I'm just going to take this time to express my extreme disappointment in Doug, Channel Awesome, and the forces that made this movie into what it was. There is not a single ounce of fun to be had in this movie. Everything is so freaking serious. And like I said earlier, that isn't a bad thing, but it's such a waste of time. 3 hours to be exact. 3 hours of wasted time. Like, there isn't even an attempt to start out the movie with a joke, like, unless you count this as a joke. but it just kind of feels like a joke because they didn't have a picture of Bargo. Like, seriously, this picture looks like it's from 2010. Like, the worst thing about this movie, to me, is that it decides to have an agenda. Like, there's this whole stupid message the movie has where, like, the age of reviews is over and the internet is gonna move past all these guys. No! There was a bit of a saga I didn't mention with Channel Awesome. It involved Tommy Wiseau from The Room. It involved, fair use and copyright clause. And in the end, it did settle in Channel Awesome's favor, and it was seen as a big win for free speech on the internet. But in 2013, there was another big crackdown with all this stuff on the internet. And instead of fighting it with the laws and clauses that were in place at the time, Doug and the writers just decided to bitch about it on the internet. This is meant to be a fun get-together with friends, not a time to air out your stupid hissy fits. You're taking all the fun out of having Linkara and Phaelus in the same room. Like, I just can't believe they tried to force the message that after this movie, like, the age of reviewers is gone. All of these people you see will be just dead in the water and no one will care about them. And you try to do that by killing off the nostalgia critic? Of course, this didn't happen. Most of these people still have a platform, the good ones at least, and even the nostalgia critic came back after a while. But just because you are in a shitty situation, Doug and the other writers, doesn't mean you have to bring down the whole ship with you. Nobody is having fun in this movie. My favorite example of this is this iconic scene with Brad Jones where he just looks like he doesn't want to be here anymore.
I need him!
This will be a great segue into my next talk. References. Because this whole scene is a reference, to Star Wars. One of the consistent talking points about To Boldly Flee, and really the entire Channel Awesome trilogy, is the overuse of references as jokes and how smelly they are. And I'm not here to contest this. I've given these movies way too many passes. But I got to thinking, why is reference humor bad? Could it possibly be funny? This is a question I never really thought about, and I've never really seen anyone else talk about it either. But times change, my head gets bigger with knowledge, and I start to consume media that challenges my beliefs on these sort of things. Which means I get to talk about the cult classic show. Just roll a title card. You guys are knee deep into a video about Channel Awesome, okay? I think you can hear me out for this one. Nirvana the band, the show, is one of my favorite shows of all time. I've been getting into it really hard this year. You should go watch it. Go watch all of Matt Johnson's stuff. Nirvana the band, the show, operates on a lot of levels. It's a hidden camera type show. They break the fourth wall a lot. A lot of the scenes are improvised. But one of the main pillars in almost every single episode of the show is the abundance of references. References to TV, references to movies, references to video games, to everything. And they don't try to hide it either. Like, they recreate the opening to Last Crusade almost shot for shot. There's a part in the show where Matt goes,
That's from King of Fighters.
And I'm watching this show unfold before my very eyes, and I'm thinking, this is what Nostalgia Critic was doing. But it's funny here. Like, how does Nirvana the band, the show, do it? Like, how do they make this reference humor funny? It took me some time to think, but I feel like I understand it. Like, hear me out. One of the big problems with the reference humor in Channel Awesome is all they do is reference something. They don't do anything with it. One of the main bad guys from To Boldly Flee is General Zod from Superman 2, specifically Superman 2. And it's just a bad impression of General Zod. Like, he doesn't do anything. The only joke is, hey guys, it's General Zod, and he's doing something General Zod wouldn't really do. And he says kneel a lot. That's not a joke. It's just the equivalent of jangling keys in front of my face. There's no creativity with it. Now let's take a look at a gag from Nirvana the band, the show. It'll take a second to set up. So Matt here has lost his sight because he sat too close to the TV while watching Star Wars. Long story, don't ask. Half the episode goes by, and Matt's friend Jay is getting jumped by goons, and then this shit happens. he becomes fucking Daredevil from Marvel Comics. This shit is so funny because almost half the episode is Matt and Jay bumbling around at Matt's blind expense. But after that joke is played out enough, they take it to the extreme, and they also play off the well-known trope of being blind heightens your other senses. If you don't know what Daredevil is, the joke still works. Another thing about the Daredevil bit, they go all in on it. They pretty much made their own 5-minute Daredevil story. Matt didn't just show up and go, "Hi, I'm Daredevil," and just leave. No, they commit to the bit and they make something out of it. Nirvana the band, the show, also does a really good job at bending a reference to fit the context of the episode. In this episode, The Buddy, Matt is watching the Robin Williams movie Mrs. Doubtfire. Jay comes in and says he wants to do his own thing for the night, but Matt still wants to hang out with him. So Matt takes what he learned from Mrs. Doubtfire and dons a disguise to be a different person. And after all that, the only real Mrs. Doubtfire reference is the fact that Matt dresses up as someone else, which is already a well-known gag that most people know. The reference to Mrs. Doubtfire serves to give the joke a little bit of more of a punch. Like, the episode still works if you don't know what Mrs. Doubtfire is. But in Channel Awesome, if you take out the reference, the whole joke and the whole movie falls apart. Channel Awesome also references things like nobody's ever heard of. Tell me, no, honestly, tell me, how the fuck was I supposed to know Spoonie was the guy from Battlefield Earth? I know they say where he's from, but I'm not going to just start clapping because they say where he's from. I know the Battlefield Earth bit is on me because it's also a reference to the Nostalgia Critic review of Battlefield Earth. But like I said earlier, I didn't watch all the Nostalgia Critic reviews, and he's done so many reviews on so many movies. How am I supposed to keep track of all the stupid movies he's reviewed? That's another thing about Nirvana the band, the show. Yes, I'm still on this tangent, just listen to me. Everyone knows what Indiana Jones is. Everyone knows what Star Wars is. Everyone knows what James Bond is. Who the fuck knows what Judge Dredd is in the modern age? It's just lazy. It's lazy writing and it's lazy jokes. The whole movie is lazy. There's no more low-budget ambition to respect. Yeah, some of the makeup is cool and some of the CGI and miniatures look fine, but it's sandwiched between the most boring setting and oceans of green screen. Like, I understand they had no budget, but like, where did the budget go? I'm fucking done. I'm ending this shit right now. I know it's lazy to end this whole thing like this, but if Doug can be lazy, I can be lazy. Anyone can be lazy. Fade to fucking black. So, this was certainly a ride. I haven't gotten this heated since, like, the Thunderball FYA. Jesus. We're going to start wrapping things up here, and I know there is some other stuff I could be talking about. We still have the other Channel Awesome anniversary movie, the 2 Linkara movies, and the 2 Cinema Snob movies, and Demo Reel. But I think you guys will understand it when I say this. I'm all Channel Awesomed out right now. Maybe we can pick up this topic again later down the line and review the rest of them. But for now, let's just take a look at what happened after The Boldly Flee. I always forget that Nostalgia Critic fucking dies at the end of The Boldly Flee, and the show didn't come back for a little under a year. In the meantime, we had that Demo Reel show, something I know everyone loves. I didn't watch it for this video, but I know a lot of stuff carried over into Nostalgia Critic. Some of the actors like Tamara and Malcolm, and a lot of skits. It takes almost 5 minutes to get to the review in the Son of the Mask video. And that 5 minutes is all skits and the intro. And these skits just aren't funny, man. It's not as serious as To Boldly Flee. We will never reach that level again. I don't know what it is, but these jokes are just lame as hell. The reviews are still decent about, what I would expect, but now I just have to fast forward a bunch to get to them. There's a lot more random videos of just Doug talking about random stuff, like, are video games art? Is it good to nitpick? Did, this movie age well? And I really like these videos. Like I said earlier, it feels like I'm actually watching Doug and not some fake character in a skit. But now we jump to the current day, which is the 31st of August in 2024 when I'm doing this video. And it's good for the most part. Yeah, there are still some unfunny skits and not all the jokes land, but it's paced a lot better and the jokes aren't as awkward as before. There are a lot more videos where it's just Doug talking about stuff he wants. Everything's a lot more chilled out, and Doug is doing more than just summarizing the plot. He is like layering in critiques about the thing he's talking about, like almost evenly throughout the video. It's nuts. I don't know how it took him this long to get to this point.
I like how they have to hide what makes them unique, and seeing how this does take place in the 60s, you could read a little bit into that and how not everyone was always welcome for how different they were. It's something I think always resonates in a lot of time periods, but at the same time, you could just look at it as a story about a family of superheroes. See, this is the kind of commentary I like. You can read several things into it because it's relatable to a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Direct commentary is fine too, but there's way too much of it right now and often gets in the way of the story.
It's, dare I say, fairly good, decent, balanced content. I'm glad we get to end on a pretty decent note. I don't think I can handle another big freakout. We'll save that for the next Channel Awesome video. I'm still not 100% on Doug and Channel Awesome. A lot of the stuff and people that made To Boldly Flee the way it was, they're still there, but it's a lot more toned back now. And Doug seems to actually be having fun with this whole YouTube thing again. I'm glad that he's happy at least. But this is where I want to end things for now. Thank you all so much who all stayed around and listened to what I had to say. I know I said I was getting paid to make this video, but hopefully I was able to come across like I actually cared about this stuff and put in a genuine effort. But who knows? Maybe I was able to make you guys think about something you didn't think about before. And hopefully I didn't, just retread the same steps of other Channel Awesome videos. I didn't watch any to prep for this video. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. This fucking tie won't come off. If I'm stuck being the Nostalgia Critic forever, it might as well just... Shit!
Hello, this is Cameron without the Nostalgia Critic costume this time. Usually I have a little video and nice bit of music playing us through the credits, but since I'm back on screen for these videos after a long time, I decided to talk us out through the credits. Again, thank you all so much for watching. This video has been almost a year in the works. This video started a long time ago. Originally, it was just going to be a video about me talking about the Nostalgia Critic movies, but like I said earlier in the video, people have done that so many times that there would have been nothing new I could add. And I don't like making videos that have no original spin to it. Of course I like to make videos on stuff that I like and care about and have stuff to talk about, but if there's already a type of video that does what I want to but better, or has been done to death, then I don't have any motivation to make it. I like to make new things. So this was my spin on it. It's my take on Channel Awesome. It's my experience, something that no one can replicate. Hopefully I was able to make it a bit original. I did not watch any other Nostalgia Critic Channel Awesome review videos in preparation for this, in case that I repeat stuff, and I probably did. There's only so much you can say about Channel Awesome and Nostalgia Critic. But I will say it was nice experiencing, an era of the internet that I kind of missed out on. I feel like some of this hasn't really aged all that well, but it was fun to go back and watch, and it was fun to see the evolution of this format. And I don't really ask this, I don't really do the whole YouTuber talk, but leave in the comments, what was your guys' first exposure to Nostalgia Critic or Channel Awesome? Did you get into it late in the game like I did, so you had all this plethora of content? Or were you there since the very beginning? In that case, I envy you, having to watch all 900 videos of the Nostalgia Critic. And also, who's your favorite Channel Awesome member? I know a lot of these guys are part of Channel Awesome. I think Brad Jones is still part of Channel Awesome. I'm not sure about Larry Bundy Jr. The site was actually taken down a while ago. I don't think it was that guy with the glasses, but the Channel Awesome site was taken down a while ago, and that made finding a lot of the other guys' videos kind of hard. like Benzai stuff like that. His stuff is pretty much wiped off the face of the internet now. Like just finding that like RoboCop 3 video was hard. But some of my favorites, and you probably already saw, Phalos, Benzai, Cinema Snob. Phalos, I'll continue to keep watching him. I love his stuff. I like Guru Larry. You know, I've watched him for years, and I like I said, it was a big surprise to see him in the lineup. They keep saying he's in the credits to all these anniversary movies. I don't know where he is. I think he just has a cameo role. I don't know. I can't figure out where he is. But yeah, thanks for watching. Who knows? Maybe I'll be back here sitting in front of this green screen to talk about more Channel Awesome movies. If the guy who produced this video is willing to pay up, you know, who knows? Maybe I'll do it. I won't do it for a while though, because making this video has been like one of the worst experiences of my life. You know, I like to have fun making these videos. And, you know, like, you know, when you love something, every now and then you have like a bit of a honeymoon phase where you're like, God, I hate what I'm doing. I hate what I'm making. Just press Control A, select all, delete everything from the timeline. But no, this is easily the hardest video I've ever had to make. Some of it wasn't fun, but I think the end product was very enjoyable. And I'm sitting here right now doing this, and I feel like this is a really fun way to end the video. But who knows? Maybe we'll be back to talk about more Channel Awesome. But until then, see you in the next one.